Starting the coffee with the K-Bar Chopsticks of Truth using the Vortex method, the only true way to optimize the taste of your coffee at the molecular level. Good morning. Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, my second cup of bulletproof coffee, which is Bustelo, instant, cream, tablespoon of butter, a sprinkle of red mint salt. What else did I put in it? I put in butter. I would usually put in ghee, but I don't have any ghee. I have to get some today. And what else did I put in there? I made it really fatty. I put in a tablespoon of coconut oil as well, and took my milk frother and just blended it all up. The first cup I actually put some of the Sacred 7 mushroom powder in, made mushroom coffee. But I am on a summer shred journey right now, and I think I want to see my abs by summer. I haven't seen my abs in a long time, so that's going to be one of my journeys for my summer shred. Let's get started. Everyone has hindsight, but not everybody has foresight. Am I right? Looking back, everyone's an expert. Looking forward, you're just kind of winging it. But when you have hindsight, you can see the areas where there were red flags. Don't put yourself in situations where you can be thrown under the bus. Did you ever do that? Bad things always happen to me. I attract all the wrong people. Look back. What did you do? What was your state of mind when you invited those things into your life, consciously or unconsciously? 9 times out of 10, you can see where you got used, abused, but you ignored the red flags. Now, are you going to proceed forward without considering the red flags? It's funny how red flags only exist when you're looking back, right? How about looking forward? Do you have a special pair of lens where you can see red flags when they appear before you make a decision? However, if you're one of those people that's addicted to disappointment, this is going to keep happening over and over and over. No one to blame but yourself. Admit it, make the appropriate changes, amends, apologies if you have to, and move on with your new knowledge. What you need to do is commit to yourself. Commit to yourself. Time for a sip of bulletproof coffee. Oh, by the way, if you drink a cup or two of bulletproof coffee and have 2 meals a day, 2 healthy meals a day, lower carbs, higher protein, the weight will just come flying off. You don't have to do anything weird. The weight will fly off. Take my word for it. If you want the weight to come off a little faster, do 1 meal a day. For instance, the bulletproof coffee really keeps me satisfied in the mornings up until like 11 or 12. And then there's times where I will have a nice lunch, and I'm not even hungry later on. Not even a little bit. Not even. I'm talking like dinner time. Dinner time. I'm not even hungry. So little changes. Cup of bulletproof coffee. Cut out the sugar. Minimize or eliminate carbs if you can. Pasta, bread, that kind of thing. Candy. My downfall. I love candy. I love sweets. I do have a sweet tooth, which is why I was addicted to carbs. Basically, a carb addiction is nothing but a sugar addiction. You know that, right? All that being said, commit to yourself. Commit to yourself. Commit to change. If you need a buddy system, find a friend who can do it with you. Anything. I'm talking about working out. I'm talking about losing weight. I'm talking about getting more prepared for life. A buddy system works great, but nobody can motivate you like you. Your buddy is always going to fall short. It seems like it's like people who start businesses with a business partner. You know what? If you can help it, don't have a business partner. Eventually, you end up thinking differently. Things change, circumstances change, and you pretty much will go in your own direction. At best. At worst, it can end up being all kinds of legal issues. So be careful of that stuff. Commit to yourself. Have the courage to commit to yourself. You don't need anyone holding your hand. You don't. BYOGAD. Bring your own give a damn. Why? Because everybody else's is broken. If you don't care about you, don't expect anyone else to care about you. But if you are caring for you, and I'm not talking about living a selfish life, I'm talking about basic care. Take care of your body. It's meant to last a lifetime. Make money. Have positive cash flow. That's a good thing. Don't let anyone shame you for making money a priority in your life. Everything will change if you do those two things. Twitter suspends U.S. Senate candidate for hateful conduct. My question is this: is transphobia the new racism? She said something about men's sports are for men, women's sports are for women, that kind of thing. And she got banned off of Twitter. Twitler. What are your thoughts about that? It seems like there's it seems like there's new phobias or new hate that gets rolled out every now and then. Everyone, everybody, you, me, everybody, is recovering from their childhood and their parents. I remember in the 80s there was a lot of blame your parents for everything. Remember that? Those of you that have been around long enough. Blame your parents. Everyone's recovering from their childhood and their parents who were, guess what, winging it. Your parents were not child-rearing experts. It was on-the-job training. Now, the reality check. You ready? Your kids are recovering from your parenting now. Yeah. Because guess what? You were winging it. I was an expert at marriage until I got married. It's funny how life works. Eventually, you will realize that you weren't a child-rearing, parenting expert either. Even with all the social media available to you, you fell short. And guess what? It all evens out in time. You don't have to blame anyone. You don't have to be blamed. Don't feel angry. Don't feel guilty. You'll be fine. You're going to make it. Stop pointing the finger, because you will have plenty of fingers pointing back at you. And boy, is that humbling. Some interesting facts about what's going on in Europe right now. You might want to check out New York Nadia, her video, The Truth About Russia and Ukraine. Some interesting perspectives there. If you're listening to just the media, you get sucked in. Completely sucked in. If you hate Putin, but think Biden is okay, you got sucked in. You're just another victim of the media. Remember when people used to say elections have consequences? Remember that? A certain politician said that. That's precisely why we in the United States and many countries in the world don't have real elections anymore. We have selections. Leaders are being selected, not elected by the people. What are you going to do about that? Last year, 2,300, over 2,300, it was like 2,332 people were shot in Philadelphia. 559 people died from homicide in Philadelphia. Can we send troops here to Philly? Fences make good neighbors, and boundaries make good nations. When either of those things are breached, there are problems. Keep that in mind. Say that you'll never need it. One headline, why believe it? Everybody wants to rule the world. All for freedom and for pleasure. Nothing ever lasts forever. Everybody wants to rule the world. Tears for Fears, 1985. How interesting. Have you noticed an increase in apocalyptic postings and literature, asteroids, aliens? We haven't even heard the word nuclear for a long time. Now, I heard it more in the past week than I have in the past 10 years. Tears for Fears puts out a new album called The Tipping Point. I believe that's the name of it, and a song called The Tipping Point. But of course, now you're seeing Everybody Wants to Rule the World being rolled out, and their live performances of that. Now they got gray hair, and they still sound great. A really good band, in my opinion. I thoroughly enjoy them. But why right now are we seeing the song? And why is YouTube suggesting this everywhere? Everybody wants to rule the world. Why are we seeing that? Is it a coincidence? I think not. Can you see how you're being played? It's a fear delivery system. And what you're seeing is things that were already spoken of. You were already warned about certain things. And you mocked the people who brought those things to light. The conspiracy theorists. I don't believe there's any conspiracy theories left, because they've all come true. Every single one that I've talked about is 100% true. Every single one. And the ones that I don't talk about or can't talk about on YouTube, they're still true. Just because I can't talk about them, just because I get banned from Twitter or any social media platform, doesn't mean that they're not true. It actually means that they are true. In medieval times, they would pull the tongues out of truth tellers. Now, we just deplatform, deperson, and cancel people. Interesting, right? Everything you learned about history, everything you learned about money, men, everything you learned about women, everything, you need to be re-educated on everything. Everything. I guarantee that 90% of what you've been taught is wrong. And you've been programmed to think a certain way. You are being programmed right now with social media and the news right now about what's happening in Europe. You're being programmed. Many of the people who you thought were bad guys historically were not bad guys. But that's how it was spun. So now that's in your head. The news is a fear delivery system. The news is basically state-sponsored propaganda at this point. That's why you need to seek out independent media. For the first time, some people are going to understand the concept of a false flag event, because they are coming. I remember when that hit home with me, and I started understanding the distraction game that is played by elites and world leaders. Look here so you don't see what's happening over here. That's why whenever I see any world event that is on mainstream media, the first thing I think is, what are they distracting me from? And that's what I ask you all the time. What are we being distracted from right now? What are we being distracted from right now? And with that, finish your coffee and I'll see you on the next Daybreak Show, your home of sanity, clarity, and reason.